E3 is like Christmas if you're a gamer. All these companies coming together and releasing and announcing all the games coming hopefully over the next year. Getting us all hyped up and excited for everything going on in the gaming industry right now. And the press conferences that they live streamed started today a few hours ago. Over the course of the next few days, we're going to be hearing from Bethesda, Square Enix, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Ubisoft, and if I'm not forgetting anyone, EA. And EA actually went today. They were first, which is a great thing because EA is usually the least exciting out of all of them. So getting them out of the way first saves us from getting all hyped up during Nintendos or PlayStations and then we get EAs and it's kind of like, yeah, okay. Every year, the amazing EA comes in to set that bar nice and medium, sometimes even below medium, for the rest of the companies to then come out and blow us all away. And this year was really no different. EA was extremely lackluster, and I think it's really interesting that the indie developers working for EA right now stole the show as far as I'm concerned. Usually, in something like PlayStation's or Nintendo's conferences, you'll see these indie games highlighted somewhere in there, and it's kind of like, oh cool, they look pretty neat, but you're so overwhelmed by how awesome seeing the brand new Zelda just was. The indie games kind of pale in comparison, but they still look great. Well, that's not the case with EA. We spent over half of this event being completely bored to tears, to the point where when we saw two fresh indie developer games, it was like a heaven sent. And we'll get to that pretty soon. Let's start by recapping the beginning of the event. We saw some Battlefield and we saw some FIFA, and both were really lame actually. What I've seen of Battlefield so far, I don't mind. I actually enjoyed Battlefield 1, I'm looking forward to playing Battlefield 5, but at the same time, if I, for whatever reason, never got it, I really wouldn't mind. But out of everything we knew EA was going to show us today, Battlefield 5 and Anthem were the two that I was most looking forward to, just because of, you know, what else there was and the fact that these two looked the best. And even though in the last couple weeks we've received a lot of Battlefield 5 information, they barely touched on it. They spent more time on FIFA, but even then, considering how big the FIFA franchise is, and yes, I don't personally enjoy it or care for it, so I don't mind they kept it short, but even then, they spent more time on the Command & Conquer mobile game than anything else, and that's what blows my mind here, because this year is going to be insane. Mark my words, this is going to be one of the best E3s we've ever had, and EA doesn't count in that, and it never did, but this E3 will be the best we've ever had. That's my prediction right now. At least the best in years, in a very long time. And if you think about it, each one of these companies that are doing a press conference this year are bringing their biggest hitters, some of their heaviest hitters to the conference. Bethesda is bringing a new Fallout game. Nintendo's bringing a new Metroid, a new Smash Brothers, maybe a new Bayonetta, but some of their biggest franchises. Ubisoft has a new Assassin's Creed, and I know yeah, but it is one of their biggest franchises, as well as Skull and Bones, which looks pretty great. Division 2, one of their newest big franchises. So many other things from Ubisoft. PlayStation has Days Gone, a new Spider-Man game. We'll probably see some more of Death Stranding, and not to mention their newest huge franchise, Last of Us. We'll probably see more on the sequel of that game. Even Xbox is probably going to show a new Gears of War game, and maybe even a new Halo game, but definitely a new Gears of War and a new Crackdown. Some of the biggest franchises, even Xbox is on board with this hype train. So I was expecting something from EA, knowing that they knew that this year was going to be huge and that they were going to pale in comparison to all the other conferences unless they brought something cool to the table or just focused on their best stuff. But instead, they spent most of their conference on a mobile Command & Conquer game.
Who's on control of Nick at night? He will have the missiles. We see it starts to point towards In Control's base.
Let's see if In Control can get around to that top corner, able to halt that missile. He does contest the missile, putting it into the yellow position.
They played out an entire round of this game. And if that isn't boring enough for anyone, they then played the cinematic trailer for the game, which of course, like most mobile games, looked nothing like the game itself. It was such a bad representation of the lackluster game. EA doesn't give a damn. They spent as much time as they could showing us this very boring looking mobile game. But it's one of them things where they spent so much time on it because of microtransactions, because they know that so much of their income and their revenue comes from microtransactions, and where better to get them from than a mobile game. Now that they can't do loot boxes anymore, every time they said, and our game won't have loot boxes, Anthem, our game won't have loot boxes, the crowd cheers, Battlefield, our game won't have loot boxes, the crowd cheers. Everyone's loving it right now. I think it's ridiculous that people are cheering EA for not putting in loot boxes. I mean, I get that it's awesome, but I can't believe we're at that point now where it's that much of a relief. But the drawback of that is they don't care about those games as much anymore now because they don't have loot boxes. What do they care about? Their mobile game, which has a ton of microtransactions. I do think it speaks volumes. They say they care about games. They say they're passionate about games, but then they spend so much time on a mobile game that has no creativity involved in it because they know they'll make more money from that than something they just put out and get one buy on it, one initial price tag buy, and then that's it. But I will say to their credit, they did give a good amount of time to the indie developers. There was 2 indie developers that came out on stage. You have Unraveled 2, which I was so happy to see. The first Unraveled game was pretty fun, and the guy that came out, way back when Unraveled was announced, this guy came out holding the little doll, and bless his heart, he was so scared, so nervous. You could see him shaking so much. He came out again this year, and you can tell he's so passionate and he loves what he does. And that's what I like seeing at these conferences. Developers that love what they do, developers that are passionate about their games, and this game looks gorgeous. It looks a little simple. The gameplay mechanics remind me of something like Knuckles Chaotix, but taking that mechanic and putting it into a 2D side-scrolling platformer game. But the next one really captured my attention. The developer they had walk out on stage, also you could tell she was really excited and really passionate about her game, which I love, and she gave this whole spiel about the game is about your inner demons and loneliness, and obviously she didn't say the word depression, but a lot of that obviously stems from depression, and that game reflected that. And if you're the kind of person that wanted to look deeper into the symbolism of that kind of stuff, you can find it in this game. But if you just want to enjoy the game and have some fun with it, you can do that too. And it was really heartfelt, it was really nice, and then they showed some of the game, and honestly, it looked way more fun than anything else we saw in this whole event. That one game, that one snippet, that one gameplay trailer cinematic of this indie game, and the one before that too, but especially this one just looked so freaking gorgeous, looked so interesting, had a unique concept, looked like it had love and care put into the development, and it was just different. It was different, it was unique. It wasn't another FIFA, it wasn't another Battlefield. I love that. I love the way that game looks, and I don't want to take away from that, but EA, I just find it so insane that they keep buying out all these companies and then shutting them down. And then they take all these awesome looking games and then they cancel them just so they can keep making the Battlefields and keep making the FIFAs and keep making the things they know are gonna make money and focus on a mobile game that makes microtransactions. EA is honestly a very average company, and they are doing a little bit of service to the indie developers right now, and I do love that. I love what they're doing with that. I don't want to take that away from them. No Way Out, that game that came out recently that I absolutely adored, they even gave that game another shout out during their conference, and one I said in my review, but they didn't take any profits from that game. They took what they needed to get their costs back from what they put into publishing it, but all the profits, everything that game made, went to the developers, who have apparently now upgraded their studio. They have a new, bigger studio, and they're working on their next game. I love that. I love that support, EA. But now, look at what those indie devs are doing that you obviously have faith in, you obviously have some level of respect for, and you like what they're doing. Take that, take the heart and soul of that, and start making new games with it. We saw some Anthem, finally, and it essentially looks like Destiny 2 or Destiny 3. I'm not saying it looks bad, but it does look uninspired. It's a beautiful looking game. It's huge in scope, huge in scale. Honestly, I'll play it and I'll try it out, and I liked Destiny for the most part, but I was not excited looking at it. It looks like Destiny that you can fly in. You can fly in this Destiny game. And I'm not trying to knock BioWare, because BioWare's done some amazing thing over the years, and I don't doubt the story will be incredible and the game will be fun to play. I don't doubt any of that. But it just wasn't interesting because it is nothing new. At least to me, and that's just my opinion. In this EA event, with this huge business, this huge company, this Goliath in the gaming world, that for me was the most exciting part and the only part of this whole conference that showed any heart and any love and any passion. And I don't want to knock the development teams that have worked on the other games. I'm sure that people that go to work on FIFA every day and they love what they do. They absolutely love what they do. But I hope you guys understand what I mean by that. The games themselves, EA needs new IPs, new properties that aren't just what can we make that will make money for sure? What can we make that everyone else has made that made money, or we've made that's made money? How can we replicate it in some way and add in microtransactions to make money? It was all about frickin' money. I can't help but see money symbols when I watch an EA conference. And the only time I didn't see that symbol was with the indie teams. But again, don't let that get you down, because as I said, all of these companies are not only bringing their heavy hitters, but there are so many other exciting things on the horizon that I've talked about before, and of course, secrets that we don't even know about yet. I do honestly believe this will be the best E3 we've had in a very long time. Just scrap EA, don't even worry about it. Just, it's whatever, it's fine, don't worry about it, it's gone, it's over with now. We can enjoy the rest starting tomorrow morning with Microsoft's event, and I will be live streaming that event as well as the rest of the weekend, so look out for my live streams. I'll be making a ton of videos this weekend as well, all about E3 and the things I love and the things I hate, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already to keep up to date with all of those. Like this video if you enjoyed it. This was all my opinions, so let me know if you disagree, if you loved the conference, if you really like what you saw from Anthem or Battlefield or anything else, or if you thought the indie games didn't look that great. We all have different wants, needs, preferences, things that we enjoy in video games. It's Christmas. We can't all love opening up our presents and finding socks, but maybe someone else needs socks. Maybe someone out there really needed those Madden socks, and they just weren't for me because I have too many Madden socks as it is. Let me know down below what you enjoyed from this event, and I will see you in the next video.